Even if I throw it at them, they're still going to come back.
I know, but at least he knows to stay away from you, Stay away from you.
Hey growers, it's August 7th, 2022, and today is a disappointing day in the vegetable garden. First of all, I noticed my tomato trellises starting to lean under the weight of the tomatoes. And so this one in particular was leaning a lot. I was going to try to fix it by placing some bracing across the top of all three trellises, but unfortunately this one snapped before I was able to do that. And you can see the aftermath. It's a disaster. I'm going to do my best to fix it, but this just goes to show you that you got to make sure your trellises and your support structures are built very strongly. So the crux of the problem is right here. This is the center post, and you can see it's been just snapped off where this joint has been made. And this is something I was worried about from the start, because these 2x2 stakes are not solid wood. They're joined together, as you just saw, and that makes them weaker. I should have saw that coming. It's happened to me in the past when I built a Florida weave tomato trellis back in 2015. And I don't know, I just thought the 2x2s would be stronger than the 1x2s, and maybe it wouldn't happen. You can see I've got a lot of beefsteak tomatoes here. They're quite heavy when they're laden with fruit, and I guess I underestimated the strength of the trellis. While it does seem like a disaster, I think I can fix this trellis up real good and get these tomato plants growing back on track. So growers, it's been about 2 weeks since my trellis collapsed, and you can see I have fixed it. It doesn't look the same as it did before. It's a little shorter on this one, but that's okay because it still works, and that's the main thing. The end stakes of this trellis actually snapped off in the ground, so I had to dig out those pieces, and that was a complete pain. And the middle one, as I showed you before, was snapped off about a foot above the soil line. So what I had to do is I had to simply cut the stakes again and pound them into the ground. This time, obviously they're shorter, so it's going to be a little stronger. And yeah, let me show you what's going on. So you can see I had to get a little crafty here, and I put some beams across the trellises, so now it's essentially one unit, and that is going to help it be a lot stronger, a lot more stable, and I think it's going to hold up well for the rest of the season now. But you see, that trellis fail was nothing compared to the main issue I've been having in my garden, and that is squirrels. You heard me correct. The squirrels have found my garden, and I've never really had this issue in the past. You know, I've had a few nibbles here and there, but nothing like this. This year they're just going full out feast mode, and unfortunately they're not leaving any tomatoes for me. I've been finding my precious beefsteak tomatoes on the plants and on the ground with bites taken out of them. The cherry tomatoes have just been stripped off the plants. I mean, I think I've only gotten a few this entire season, so it's pretty depressing. My mom mentioned that the reason for the squirrel invasion could be that my cat, Baby Bell, went missing last fall. She used to be outside often during the growing season and was quite the huntress. Plus, her feline scent alone probably kept the pests away. Wherever you are, we miss you, Baby Bell. I came out of my house earlier today. I literally see a tomato here, half eaten, and I see a squirrel running away.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I saw that.
Yeah, they're there.
And you know what? Get a can,
Yeah,
fill it with rocks,
yeah.
and throw it at them, because it makes a racket, right?
I know, but I mean, like, even if I throw it at them, they're still gonna come back.
I know, but at least he knows to stay away from you, Stay away from here.
The obvious question was, what was I gonna do to stop these squirrels from eating my tomatoes? And I thought of a bunch of different things that I could do. For example, I sprinkled pepper flakes around the perimeter of my garden and next to the rows of tomatoes. I installed a little leaf fence around the perimeter of this middle trellis, and that was kind of futile, I think, because squirrels can easily get over that. And the peppers didn't work. So I started losing hope, and I realized that there's really not much that can be done. And you know, there's all these different remedies you can find for various critters and pest problems in your garden, and people always ask me, Lucas, how do you prevent things from eating your tomatoes? How do you keep insect pests at bay? The truth is, I really haven't done anything. You might be thinking, Lucas, there are so many more things you can try to keep these squirrels out of your garden. You know, you could put pans up that are going to reflect light and scare them away. Maybe you could install some sort of electric pulse maker that sends out a wave that freaks them out and prevents them from going in your garden. I don't know, there's a million things that people could suggest. If you guys have any ideas that you've proven to work in your garden after the squirrels have already started to attack, let me know. But I think the only really effective ways to keep the squirrels at bay is to build a barrier around your entire vegetable garden, which I plan on doing someday, but right now it's just too expensive and it's not worth it for me. And I think the second way is just exterminating the squirrels, which I would never do. I wanted to make this video for you guys for two reasons. One, to give you an update on my vegetable garden, and two, and most importantly, to show you that even someone who's been growing vegetables for years can fail. I mean, I've been growing vegetables for 10 years, since I was 12 years old, and I've never ran into an issue like this before. But there are some things that you just simply can't control, and obviously that's with life, it's with gardening, with anything. It's frustrating, but you just have to learn to accept it and move on. There's always going to be another season. There's always going to be another day. But the point is, things happen. I'm disappointed by this. This would have been my best tomato garden because these plants are all single stemmed and they're producing really nice, hefty tomatoes. My cherry tomatoes looked amazing, but that's just not how it worked out. And sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. You can sit there and cry over your failures, or you can see them as an opportunity to learn and to realize that it's okay to fail. And failure is part of the process. I know this is cliche, probably sounds like a motivational video right about now, but if I don't make any harvest videos this year, guys, that's the reason. The squirrels. I do have some good peppers here, fortunately, but the tomatoes are pretty slim pickings. While I am discouraged, I haven't completely lost hope, and what I plan on doing is picking the tomatoes when they've just started to ripen, bring them indoors, and ripening them there. And you might say, Lucas, those tomatoes won't taste nearly as good as if you had left them on the vine to ripen. And while that might be true, I'd rather get some tomatoes than not get any. And so sometimes you have to compromise a bit. And honestly, I think the flavor will be very similar. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's my plan, to actually get some of my tomatoes before the squirrels eat them all. And although it might not be ideal, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name's Lucas, and if you have any questions about gardening or anything in general, just leave them down below. I love to hear what you have to say. I really love to look at my comments and see what different people are thinking. And also make sure to like, because my videos haven't been getting many views lately. The algorithm hasn't been very favorable towards my channel. And if you give my video a like, it might help it out and I can make a bit of money and continue to make these videos. Thanks so much. My name is Lucas, and happy growing. I'll see you guys next time.